Well, hello friends, welcome back to browser hacking. Today we're going to be implementing XMLHttpRequest in the libweb engine so that we can do some hardcore mid-2000 Ajax programming, or I'm not sure exactly when that came out, but we're going to have to look up how this object works because I have not been making any code with this for quite a while. So basically, it's an object that allows you to fire off an HTTP request from JavaScript, and you probably know what it is already, but we're just gonna make one and see if we can make it work. So basically, it inherits from event target, and I guess that's how we learn that something happened. So let's just make a test page, something like new XML HTTP request, and then, gosh, how do you do this? It's something like add event listener load. So we get a load event when the load finishes, and you can do something here like result alert result here. And then XHR, is it open? I think you provide a method, and we just put one like that. And yeah, I think this is how it's done. And then you just put something in that file. So this would be on my web server in test. All right, so we got a progress event. I'm guessing that, oh man, what's it called? The thing that's in there. Like, that's what we want to look at. XML HTTP request example. All right. See, this is very, very close to what I was already doing. Response text. That's what we want. Response text. All right. So, wait, did I just mess that up? Oh, it's not the result, it's the this. Okay. Foobar. All right. That's pretty cool. So what is the this in this context? It's the request itself. Okay. Makes sense. So yeah, this is not a very complicated script, but it's going to take a fair amount of work to get this running in the Serenity browser. So I'm just going to start by fleshing out the DOM here, because I still didn't go and put in the time to make the parser more tolerant. But something like this should be enough, I would think. So still runs here, yeah. So yeah, so what we want to do is we want to create this constructor and then allow it to create objects of this type, obviously. And then we want them to be event targets so they can have event listeners. So this stuff we get for free because we already have event target implemented. And then we want to implement open and send on the XML HTTP request object, or XHR for short. So yeah, pretty good plan. Let's get rid of all that, and I guess let's just hack the browser to immediately open that web page. What was it? Test XHR HTML. Just so that we can get there quickly. course, it's not going to work on the first run. Just see sort of where we're at and the fact that it loads. Okay, so we get a JavaScript error, reference error, XML HTTP request not known. Makes sense. So let's make it known. So first thing we gotta do is turn off kernel mode here. All right, and then we'll go to, I guess this will be a constructor on the window object. So on window object, we don't have any constructors here currently, but we should add some. So I guess we put a new property called XMLHttpRequest, and it's gonna be an XMLHttpRequest constructor. We'll just call it XHR constructor. That's such a common term for it. Constructor is heap allocate. All right. And then we're gonna need to protect this guy, because I don't want him disappearing. So let's make sure that we override the visit children thingy. First we do the normal global object stuff, because window object is it's sort of the web extension of the JavaScript global object. So window object inherits from JS global object, and then it adds additional web browser specific stuff on top. So that's where we have stuff like the document property and alert, set interval, request animation frame, stuff like that. Because these things don't exist in a pure JavaScript context. Now here we're just going to go ahead and visit the XHR constructor. That's all I wanted to do. Make sure that it doesn't get yoinked by the garbage collector. Visit children, visitor, override. Okay. I feel like window object could be final, actually. No reason not to be. So let's see. Let's add a member for that. So request constructor. This is the first time we're adding a constructor in the window object. We have constructors in the JavaScript global object, but we haven't done it before here. So let's see. Class XMLHttpRequest constructor. And we also need a wrapper. And we're going to need a wait, how is this? I already forgot how it was spelled. Yeah, it's capital XML, right? I just wanted to look that up. But yeah, that's how it goes. So we're going to need a sort of a C++ object, and then we're also going to have a wrapper, a JavaScript wrapper around that object, and then a constructor object that knows how to create new instances of these things so that you can access it from JavaScript. All right, so let's see. We can't put this because we don't know what it is yet, right? So we'll have to request constructor, and let's touch libweb bindings. XMLHttpRequest constructor h cpp and wrapper. Okay. I guess we should also add the, is this a DOM object? I guess it's sort of a DOM object. I'm gonna put it in the DOM folder or directory or whatever. And then put it in the makefile. Man, this engine just keeps growing. But it's so much fun. Constructor and the wrapper here as well. Okay, so now we're good to build it. Of course, we don't actually have anything in those files yet. So maybe we'll start with some existing constructor, like a boolean constructor. Oh, and let me refresh boolean. So here, the XMLHttpRequest constructor, except Jack did not write this, Andreas did. Jack made the boolean constructor, so thank you, Jack, but I'm making this thing right now. So, yep. Of course, this goes in namespace web, namespace bindings. And like that, and then we have to qualify, and then qualify a little bit more. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Let's take the CPP and copy paste that as well. Okay, and then here we get rid of these guys, and instead we're going to have XMLHttpRequest constructor, I guess, and the wrapper, and namespace web, nested space bindings. Okay, and then boom, boom, double boom, 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 and so on. More booms. So let's see. The prototype is not going to be the Boolean prototype. Obviously, we need the XHR prototype. So we're going to get that from the global object, I guess. So we'll pull a sneaky one here, and since we know that the global object, if we're running in web context, then the global object is always going to be a window object. So we're going to pull a sneaky one here and static cast the global object to a window object. So actually we can just call it window. Interpreter global object. And then we will store the XHR prototype there as well. The way we store prototypes and constructors and stuff, it's a little bit like messy at the moment, but I'm not super exactly sure how I would like to store them. So we're just making it work. And then as we add more things, we'll probably discover what some good pattern would be. So let's add the prototype here as well. Okay. I guess I need some more files then. So we'll add prototype. Quite a few files for a single interface. So like for XMLHttpRequest, you need a constructor, a prototype, and a wrapper object just for the bindings, and then also a XMLHttpRequest object for C++. Now, I suppose you could merge the C++ object and wrapper and say that XHRs only exist in the script context anyway, so they don't need to have a C++ representative. But given that event handling is done in C++, and that's where we'll get all the event target functionality, we don't really have, it's not really a good idea to try to push it to JavaScript only, because that will make event handling very tricky. So it's fine the way it is, which is great. So, right, we wanted to make that accessible. XMLHttpRequest prototype. Return MXHR prototype. Cool. I guess we can expose these guys. So let's see. Now we can set up the prototype of the constructor correctly, and when you call the constructor, we want to I'm not even really sure what we want to do. Wait, what happens when you do let me look at some other constructor calls. How about function constructor? It just returns construct. Object constructor. See, these guys just call each other. So this is weird, by the way. Like in one it's construct calling call, and the other it's call calling construct. But anyway, I think I'm not exactly sure what the right behavior is for call versus construct here. So instead of digging into that too much, we're just gonna have them call each other. So we say if you call it, you'll just get whatever construct would result in, and then somebody can come and tell me that this is totally wrong and it should actually do this X, Y, and Z instead, and then we can deal with that then. But for now, we'll just construct a new, brand spanking new XHR wrapper. And then we will hand it out. In fact, we can just hand it out like that. Okay, so this thing we haven't actually defined yet. So declared. I have to, I keep mixing up define and declare. So we have event target wrapper. This thing is gonna, maybe we should start with the C++ class actually, because that will make it a bit more obvious what we're doing. So let's see, pragma, once-a, namespace web, class XHR, and DOM event target. Probably going to want to have it be reference counted as well. Otherwise it will get very strange. So let's say that this is a ref counted XML HTTP request. All right. And then then we just want to be able to make them. So we'll have a constructor, looks like that, and we'll need a virtual destructor because because event target is virtual. And I feel like we're going to need some more things. Yeah, we need ref event target, these two pure virtuals. That's okay, we can actually make those private, I think. It's just because event target doesn't dictate how you do reference counting. You can do it however you like. You just have to subclass and override these two functions to implement your reference counting. This is a way to allow event target to be inherited by something that's not actually ref counted, for example, or something that delegates ref counting or whatever. But in our case, since we inherit from ref counted, we can just call ref. And unref. Then we just have to say that we are using ref counted ref and ref counted unref. And let's say that we override here. All right. So then we needed a response text getter. And what else did we have? We have open and send. So let's just open, send. Probably those are supposed to have some return values. Maybe we should look that up. Tell me about it, MDN. Wow, look at all these arguments. We're only going to do the first two, method and URL. Return? No? Alright, well, whatever. What does send return then? Return value, undefined. And the other guy didn't have any return value. Okay, fine. So open, we're going to take a method and an URL. Okay, and then I think this is probably good enough for our API for now. Let's just make sure we add a copyright header here. So maybe we can actually implement this class. Let's just go to the CPP right away. So this guy, total no op, and these, nothing needed. This guy right here, totally empty. And these will actually be pretty simple. So, I mean, one issue is like, how do we store the response? I think we're just going to stash it in the object for now. So we'll just have like a byte buffer here, like response, and then that's not optimal if it's something huge, but whatever. We're gonna have to deal with everything at this stage. So here we'll just return string copy of response. But if response is null, we'll return a null string. Okay, and then open, I guess these guys, they can just stash, we'll do like this. So string method, string URL, and here, there's probably more stuff that we should care about here, but I'm just gonna do it very, very simply. There we go, and then for actually doing the load, we are going to need resource loader. So resource loader done, load mURL. We have to make an URL out of it, but let's assume that that works out. And then here's our first callback, so the success callback. Let's see. So this is the data, I guess. And then the failure callback. Wait, what does it get? It's an error message string. Okay. So auto errors, something like that. XHR failed to load. And maybe we don't need to capture anything there. But here we probably do. So if we do capture something, then we will, or if we get a response, then we'll just store it in mResponse as data. And we need to fire an event. So that dispatch event. Then, oh, we need to include event. DOM event. All right, so event, create, and load. What other events does this guy even have? Like, we have error, so we could actually dispatch an error event, a progress event. So this is the kind of event that we should create. So we don't have it right now. We could make it, I guess, but we'll just do a generic event instead of an event subclass for now. An error event is also a progress event. Okay, so we'll just do it like this, error. And then we have to capture this. Okay. And let's see. Yeah. We need the XHR object to stick around until the request either succeeds or fails. So I'm going to make a guard pointer or protect pointer or whatever. So this will be a non-null ref putter to X, or actually we can just do this. Protect is star this. And then maybe even this way. And then we can capture this here, and this will ensure that the XMLHttpRequest C++ object does not get destroyed until we have handled this. An option, maybe a better option would be to use a weak pointer actually, because then if the XHR is gone, when we get the response, we can just say like, oh, well, the C++ object is gone anyway. So let's do that instead of holding on to it. Weak putter. Or maybe weak this. Let's do this. Weak this is make weak putter. This will be nicer. And then if weak this, return. Same here, and then it's pretty cool. Now we just have to make this guy inherit from weakable, which allows you to create weak pointers to it. Boom. And this is a const pointer. Wait, what? I can do this? Wait, why can't I mutate that thing but not call this thing? That's weird. Is this a mutable lambda thing? Yes, it is. Okay. Let's see if we can remotely build this. Window obj. Visit children is a private member of global object. All right. So let's make it protected instead. in the XHR constructor, we need the declaration. Now I said the right word. Declaration of this class, but it doesn't exist yet. Dang it. That's why it doesn't work. Okay, so let's see, public event target wrapper. Node wrapper inherits from event target wrapper, so we can start with that as a base. And say XMLHttpRequest wrapper. Oops. Right. That's pretty decent. We can make this final. And then let's also steal the node wrapper CPP. Oops, where did I just go? I wanted to go here. And we need a wrap function, so it'll be like this, impl. And this guy can just do this right away. Wait, why is that wrong? XMLHttpRequest. Wait, I'm forgetting something now. This guy needs to inherit from wrappable. Bindings wrappable. Public wrappable bindings. Okay, and then we need to inform the compiler that the wrapper type is bindings request wrapper. Okay. And this is still not valid because we have a whole bunch of gunk here that is not related. And clickety. And actually, we don't need these to be out of line. We can just put them directly here. That's what I thought, but actually they need to be out of line. Oops, wow, that's really small. So basically, the thing is that event target wrapper is where the storage is for this kind of object. So event target wrapper, which is the JavaScript wrapper base class for anything that's an event target in JavaScript, and it has a reference counting pointer to the C++ object, the event target. But this is a virtual class, right? So if you're talking about a DOM node wrapper, then we have these helpers here called node that just cast the event target wrapper internal pointer. Oh, I have to sneeze. Sorry about that. But in the case of the XHR, oops, wrong file. XHR wrapper, again, has to cast the impl of the XHR to an XHR. So, what am I forgetting here? We're not using fly string, are we? Oh, we're probably going to. We don't need primitive string. Yeah, maybe that's pretty okay. So we're totally forgetting about the prototype. Does this guy have a prototype? HttpRequest.prototype. Well, that's not a web address, is it? Let's Google it on Bing. Okay, we're gonna have to use the old console to learn more about this stuff. XMLHttpRequest.prototype. Yes, it's an XMLHttp request prototype. Look at all those functions, holy moly. We are only doing open right now and send. But at least here we can learn that open has a length of 2 and send has a length of 0. So that's helpful information when we come up with a prototype. So let's see, boolean prototype. I'm just going to keep stealing from boolean here. Okay, again, thank you, Jack, for the boolean prototype. A little bit of spacé missing there. All right, so wait a minute. This isn't right. It's not supposed to inherit from boolean object. I gotta go and fix that later, but let's not get sidetracked. Prototype should just inherit from object, right? Boolean prototype. Who's your prototype? Object. Yeah. Okay. Not sure I was doing that right. Well, whatever. Let's not get sidetracked. So here we go, and on this guy we wanted static JS value open and send. So that's open and send, and then we also wanted a response text getter. So these are the things that we'll add. And what happens with the setter? I don't know. I don't know if it's even supposed to have a setter. Well, let's skip over setting that property for now. Okay, so that's good. And then here is the CPP file for this. So libweb bindings, XHR prototype, web bindings. Remember that old Windows font, Wingdings? Good times. I remember like opening random school projects and just setting the font to Wingdings and then thinking, well, this is fun. Like if you remember that. Wait, I didn't set the right namespace here. That's why it's not finding anything. Has to be in web bindings. Oops. And then these guys, well, we don't have to say static, but right, and then we're gonna need a wait, what are these tildes about? We're gonna need a little helper to get the object, the impl from the interpreter, and we will say libweb dom xhr. Okay, so I have a couple of these cooked up already. So it's all about using the this object to find. Maybe I have a better one actually. Don't I have a better one? I don't like any of these. Okay, maybe we can write a better one. XHR proto. So basically we want to have a convenience function that allows us to go from the interpreter's this value directly to a XHR object so that we can talk to it, because then we can start all of these functions with auto impl is impl from interpreter. And then if there is no impl, then we just return this, because if there's no impl, that means that we just threw an exception whining about the lack of an impl. So we need libjs interpreter, and we need to cast to XHR, and I think we are gonna do verification in a very cheesy way here. We'll just say string view of XMLHttpRequest wrapper. So if it's not the right type, then we will. So here, toObject here may throw an exception. So we know that if it returns null, and then this is our own check here. If it's this object has a different type, then we're going to have to throw a type error. So that will be a matter of doing interpreter, throw exception, type error. This is not an XMLHttpRequest object. Okay, and then we need the error class from the JS runtime. Oh, I guess we have to say JS error, actually. And then we can just cast this object to this and extract the impl. So we're good. Now all we gotta do is forward the arguments from the interpreter to the C++ object at this point. So impl open interpreter argument 0, interpreter argument 1, and I guess we should actually forward toString. And here we'll return undefined, because I don't know what it's supposed to return. MDN didn't say anything. Undefined is probably okay. And then we'll do the same for send, except send has no arguments, so let's just send. And then the response text getter again needs an impl, so if no impl, then return empty value, but if impl, then return JS string from the impl's response text. Okay. I think that's basically that class. I'm sure we forgot something, but let's see. Oh. No matching thingy for thingy. On line 27? No, wait. Where? XHR constructor, line 27. Oh, it's included there. All right. Instantiated where? Required from 54. All right. So this guy right here says he doesn't know what this is. And that makes sense because we're not passing him one of these guys. So we're gonna have to construct one. So I guess we'll just say XHR is XMLHttpRequest. We don't actually have it. All right, hold on. Hold on. We'll make one just for this, just for the occasion. And that's an abstract object, is it now? Well, if we say final, we'll find out why. Because we're missing a dispatch event. All right. That's a bit annoying. Why isn't that shared? I guess Node has this logic. Okay, so we need to... This stuff should really be an event target. It's a bit stupid. So this is a virtual function that's an event target virtual, but it's implemented on Node right now because I guess because that's how we achieve bubbling up the DOM ancestor tree or ancestor chain. Because if we were to do this in the event target class right now, then we wouldn't have access to DOM pointers. So this, you know, we're just gonna hack around this right now, but this is definitely a poor design that needs to be fixed eventually. So we will implement our very own dispatch event, non-null ref pair to event, override. All right. And then we will have to implement it. So let's see. Web DOM event listener. So what does this do? Let's get rid of this gunk. So it walks all of the listeners. So listeners is an event target level concept. So every event target object has a vector of registered listeners, and we add those in the add event listener logic. So when you call add event listener, we just append to the set of listener registrations. And the listener registration is just an event name and a listener object. And the listener is essentially just a wrapper around a JavaScript function callback. But let's see. So we walk the list of listeners and we check for any of them that are listening for this specific event name that we are currently dispatching. And if it's a match, then we call the callback function in the documents interpreter. I think that makes sense. We're gonna need interpreter and no, not lib audio, runtime function. And probably also, wait, what is it trying to do? Get a wrapper. Oh, get a wrapper. Right. So get a wrapper. We want to wrap the event as well. Oh, geez. So event wrapper. Okay, and then forget about that stuff. So now all we need to do is get to the interpreter, and this is also kind of an issue because how do we get to the interpreter? I guess we can just cheat here and get the interpreter from the function. This stuff is gonna have to be done a little bit differently. But we don't have to do that right now, but like, we don't want this to take over execution randomly, right? Like we want these events to be delivered in an orderly fashion. So we're probably gonna have to make some way of dispatching event event dispatch should not be synchronous. Right now it's kind of synchronous because we just call dispatch event whenever we find out that something happened, but we're going to have to make sure that event dispatch goes through the event loop so that we're not in the middle of JavaScript when some event comes in. and we start handling it, stepping all over engine state. Okay, so we can't call XMLHttpRequest from there. I guess we can make a helper for that. Create. All right, and then in this file right here, we'll just say create. Boom. Okay, proto has pragma once, that doesn't make sense. And in proto H, we're doing some goofy stuff here, like not saying JS. You don't like my mutable lambda? Okay, I don't want to deal with that, so we're just gonna unmutable and const cast. It's cheesy, but I don't want to mess with this right now. So XMLHttpRequest. And oh, this thing did have that problem. Okay. Pragma once is nonsense. Okay, we're on track to build. That's pretty good. So there's a pretty low chance that this is going to work on the first try. I feel like in the XHR wrapper, I didn't set the prototype correctly. Yeah, so we definitely have to set the prototype, otherwise it's going to mess everything up. And that would be the window objects. I mean, wait. Should we do that here or in the constructor? Let's just do it here for now. So interpreter global object dot XHR prototype, and then we'll just need a couple of includes. Or no, which one do we need? I guess we need that one and global object. And window object. Why don't you like that? Okay. Okay, we're out of tea. But just in time, so let's see how this works. Come on, work on the first try. Wouldn't that be nice? Ah. Wait, what the hell went wrong? Unable to resolve. Okay, yeah, we should probably have the browser needs to know how to note that DNS resolution failed. So reload and crash. All right. Well, it's not perfect. So what went wrong here? We're on the XHR constructor doing an oldie ref. All right. Well, we can work with that. Doing an oldie ref here because, oh, back up. we're constructing the interpreter and we can't access the global object here yet. Awkward. Alright, so we're gonna need to set the prototype property of this constructor a little bit later, because we don't have it yet. Yeah, right, that makes sense, because we're here. So we gotta set this up a little bit later. Actually, where are we even getting the XHR prototype from? Oh, we never constructed. Okay, so let's do that first. So XHR prototype is heap allocate prototype. And then let's make sure that we guard it. And we definitely don't need to cast the window object to anything because we're in the window object. But we can just say XHR prototype on the constructor, of course. And you don't like that because you don't know what that weird prototype thing is. But what if I tell you that you like it? Okay. So this is it's a little bit verbose here, like that you have to first make a prototype and then the constructor and then put the prototype in the constructor and then put the constructor on the window object. But this is all going to become generated code eventually, as I keep saying. We're still just exploring what the generated code should look like. Okay, so we made it all the way here, but then we got a type error. All right, so I feel like we probably didn't set up the functions here. So we have all the implementations, but we didn't actually hook them up. So put native function open. 2 arguments, right? Wait, what's wrong with open? Oh, we need ack function. And then send 0 length and the response text property, response text getter, and no setter for now. XHR failed to load, protocol not implemented. Oh, right, because we're just handing it the URL text verbatim. We need to do a complete URL on it. So XMLHttpRequest open. So I think here when we send, it's not that we should just construct the URL. We need to actually pass this to someone. Ooh, wait. New XMLHttp request. So how does he know? Does he have a link to the document? No, he doesn't. So what's like, I'm just thinking like, what's his relationship with the URL currently in the window? I guess, do we have some like window URL? No, that's just a constructor. But like, I guess window document, base URI. Yeah, that's where we get that from. So it's a little bit hairy to get there. How do we get there? So the thing is, I have in the URL, there's like the text. You know what? Let's let's work around this for the moment just to see if all the other stuff works. So the full address of this thing is surrenderos.org clean test example.txt, right? Foobar. Alright, so that works in Firefox. Let's see if that works in our browser. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So that's an XML/HTTP request. Actually fetching data asynchronously and giving us a callback. Freaking cool. So yeah, so we have this problem that we can't handle relative URLs because we don't have a link to the document right now. And we need the document to figure out, like, based on this relative URL, what would be the complete URL, right? But I think we're gonna commit this as it is for starters because it's a ginormous patch already. But yeah. Chila, not now, sweetheart. My cat, she wants my services, but I'll be with you in a moment. But you can't always do what your cat tells you, even though they tend to insist quite loudly sometimes. So let's see, look at all that stuff and so on. Let's just go for it. Add XMLHttpRequest object, constructor and prototype as well. Well, we don't have to say that actually. This patch adds XMLHttp request. Very basic. Support table. Wow. Here's an example that currently works. You know, we should probably just copy paste the code that actually works. Otherwise, you run the risk of not typing everything correctly. So that's a little too long. Load callback, let's say callback. All right. And I wonder if that would work. I feel like it's gonna work, but we're still gonna test it out. See, typo right there. So that works here. Okay. There are many limitations and bugs, but it's pretty dang awesome that we have XHR. Okay, I'm spending a double correct smiley budget on this one. So we have XHR, and now, yeah. Welcome to the glorious Ajax future. So let's test that the thing worked with my change there. Yeah, still works. Okay, so I'm kind of just thinking, how do we make the relative URL work? Because it's stupid if it doesn't work, right? So if we only have this, I just have to look a little bit more in here, because do we have the window base URI? No, it's really like document base URI. Okay, so we can go to window document though. That's not so bad. I'm just thinking, do I want to tie the XHR to the document in any way? They don't really feel like they're linked, but I think I don't want to do that, but instead I'm going to give it the DOM window object. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll give it a reference to the DOM window. So, oh wait, I'm not writing that very well. So window, and let's see, what's DOM window right now? It's reference counted. So I think we'll take a strong pointer to the DOM window here. We'll say non-null ref footer to window. And then this is how we're going to get to the document. You'll see. So here we will store that in window. All right, and then now we can do end window. How do we? I think we have document access from window. We should have. Document, complete. URL and URL. And we just need document as well. It's a little bit strange, but I think it is okay. I don't know exactly where else to conceptually, where to conceptually store the URL of our current context. Document just feels like the logical place, but yeah. So then, oh, we gotta fix the XHR constructor. So now we gotta give him the window, which we will give him because we can get to the window, because we know that the global object is a window. Haha. Window. And you don't know what a window is though, so I have to tell you. No, you do know. Wait a minute. You know that. Oh, right. Because we need the impl. Okay. So I think that should do it. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Let's look at our DOM tree. Oops. Oh, it's not the best way to look at a script, I suppose. But you can see here that it does a get of a relative URL, and it actually works. Man, that's really cool. Okay, so web support relative URLs in XMLHttpRequest. Yeah. In order to complete a relative URL, we need a document whose document. Since fix this by giving XMLHttpRequest a pointer to its window object. Then we can go from the window to the document, and then we're home free. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool. And I think we're going to be done here for today. So, wait, let me just check that I didn't commit that. Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be the end of today's video. So if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching and for hanging out while we continue building this browser and JavaScript engine and everything. And I hope you saw something interesting. And maybe even got curious about building these things. There's been a huge amount of interest in working on this stuff, getting a lot of pull requests and questions and stuff from people. It's really exciting. So let's keep working on it together and see what we can do. And of course, I should sometimes remember to plug my Patreon and GitHub sponsors and things like that. I have various donation options if you're interested in supporting me and my work, and you can check those out in the description below. And otherwise, I'm just going to say thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.